Hello, today we are learning our third and final form of equations, which is called standard form. So a review of what we've already learned how to do. We know how to graph from y equals mx plus b. And then we learned this new form, point-slope form, where we plug in our point x and y. It's our 1 point, so they have 1's there. And then we plugged in our slope m into the equation as well. We learned how to solve this to get y by itself, and then graph it. And then now our new form is called standard form. The only thing you need to know about standard form is that the letter x and the letter y are on the same side of our equal. Here is our equal sign here, y is on the left and x is on the right. This form, all we have to do is take the x, if it's on the right side, and move it over to be on the left side, so the x and the y are on the same side. These numbers, a, b, and c, I don't really care what they are. They're not really letters, they're really just numbers. So your equation might be 2x plus 1y equals 5. All I care is that x and y are on the same side of the equal. Okay? So last thing before we start, if I tell you you have a y-intercept, well, y-intercept is, let's say it's 3. That means that that point is up 3. So if we need that as a point, x comma y, well, x, we didn't go positive or negative, we're at 0. And that means y, we're up 1, 2, 3. So if we need a point, x comma y, and they tell you a y-intercept, we can use that information to plot the point so we know what that point is, x, y. So let's take a look at our first problem here on this side. We're going to write an equation in point-slope form to start, solve for y, and then we want x and y on the same side. Notice I put this line here with the equal sign because we're really solving the same equation. We're just working all the way through the steps. So up here it says our slope, which is really the letter m. That's 2, so that's our m right here. And then we need our point x and y to plug in. Well, our y-intercept, that's telling us that our y-axis we're crossing at down 10. So that point at negative 10 is really 0, comma, negative 10, because we're down 10. So I'm going to label this point x and y. That's our 1 point we're plugging in for x and y. So let's write our equation. It says y minus y1, which is really right here a negative 10. Those two negatives make a positive, equal to our slope m, and m is 2. And then in parentheses, x minus x1, and x1 is 0. So now we've done point-slope form, but now we're going to work this direction and solve for y. So I'm going to distribute or draw my box to multiply. 2 times x here, and then, 2 goes out front, and then we have x minus nothing. So we know 2 times x is just 2x. 2 times 0 is just 0. It doesn't matter if it's a plus or a minus, it's just 0. So I'm going to rewrite what I have. I have y plus 10 equals 2x plus 0. Now our goal is to get y by itself, so I need to get rid of this plus 10. So I'm going to subtract 10. So 10 minus 10 goes away. We have y equals 2x, and then 0 minus 10 is still just negative 10 because the 0 didn't do anything. So far, this is all things we have learned before. We know how to plug into point-slope form and then solve for y or get slope-intercept form. Now we just need standard form. We need the x and the y on the same side. Again, a, b, and c are just numbers like 1, 2, and negative 10. Doesn't matter what those are. So right now, x and y are on opposite sides. We need them on the same side, on the left side. So this 2x I need to move over to the other side. Right now it's a positive 2x, so to move the whole thing I need to do the opposite and subtract 2x on both sides. 2 minus 2 is nothing, 0, so that side's gone. So write your x's first, just like the equation says. We have negative 2x. This is a positive y, so I'm going to write plus y equals a negative 10. If you want to put a 1 there by the y, you can, but you don't need to. This is now written in standard form. So let's try the next one. This one, they tell us our slope, m, and it's a little bit easier because they give us our point x and y that we can plug into our point slope form over here. So let's write out what we have. We have y minus y1, which is really 8, equal to our slope. That's a negative right there. This is a negative 1 over 5. And then in parentheses, x minus x1, which is 5. So now let's distribute so we can get y by itself. So I'm going to draw my box to multiply. I have negative 1/5 and then x minus 5. So when we multiply negative 1/5 times x is just still negative 1/5 x. A negative times a negative is a positive. And then 1/5 times 5. You can either plug that in your calculator like this, in parentheses negative 1/5 times negative 5, or we can multiply it out. I'm going to multiply it out down here. Negative 1/5 times negative 5. Well, I know 5 is really 5 over 1. So I'm going to multiply negative 1 times negative 5, and that gives me a positive 5. 5 times 1 on the bottom is also 5. Well, 5 divided by 5, 5 goes into 5 one time. 1 over 1, or just 1. So I know this is a plus 1 now, because a negative times a negative made a positive. So we have y minus 8 equals negative 1/5 x plus 1. And then my goal is to get y by itself. So the opposite of subtracting 8 would be adding 8. 8 minus 8 eliminates. So we have y equals negative 1/5 x, and 1 plus 8 is 9. So now we want to get, or we have y by itself, so we've gotten this far. We have slope-intercept form, but now we need to get standard form. We need to get x and y on the same side. All I care about is x and y. I don't care what numbers are there. I need the x and the y on the same side. And right now, y is over here and x is over here. So we need to move this x over to the other side. Right now, that whole thing is a negative, so we need to do the opposite and add 1/5 x. Add 1/5 x. So 1/5 and 1/5 are opposites, they eliminate. So we have 1/5 x plus y, you can put a 1 there if you want, 1y equals 9. So the last step is just simply moving the x over to be with the y. They're friends, they gotta be on the same side. So let's do another one, same thing. We're going to start with point slope form and work our way through. Well, if we have 2 points, we need to find our m, or our slope, by using our slope formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's label our points first. X, y first point, x, y second point, and we're going to plug those in to our slope formula. I'm going to move this down here so we have room to write up there. So first y2, which is 10, minus y1, which is a negative 5. Those two negatives make a positive. Then on the bottom, x2 minus x1. So x2 is negative 10 minus x1, which is 20. So if we simplify that, 10 plus 5 is 15 on the top. Negative 10 minus 20, They're all negative, same sign, add and keep. So that's a negative 30. And we need to simplify. Some of you know you might be able to divide right away by a big number. Others of you might just want to start by dividing by 5, and that's fine. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Negative 30 divided by 5 is negative 6. And then we're going to simplify again. We're going to divide by 3 to make it even smaller. So our slope has to be 1 over negative 2. Negative 1/2. Some of you may have noticed that right away you could have divided by 15. That's okay. So now that we have our slope, we can use our slope and a point to plug it in. I'm going to use this first point because they're already labeled like with 1s, like this equation is. So let's first write out our equation. It says y minus y1, which is a negative 5, those make a positive, equals m, and m is negative 1/2, and then in parentheses x minus x1, x1 is 20. I'm going to draw my line so I can solve. Remember, parentheses means we need to distribute. So I have negative 1/2 and then x minus 20. So negative 1/2 times x, just put them together. Negative 1/2 x. Negative 1/2 times negative 20, well, negative times a negative I know makes a positive. And you can either think what's half of 20, or you can multiply out 1/2 times 20, and you should get 20 over 2, or just 20 divided by 2. Half of 20 is 10. So I'm going to rewrite what I have. Y plus 5 equals negative 1/2 x plus 10. Just whatever's inside our box. And then we need to get y by itself. That's our goal. So subtract 5, the opposite of adding 5. So those eliminate. We have y equals negative 1/2 x. And then 10 minus 5 is 5. We have y by itself. We have slope-intercept form. But now we need x and y on the same side of the equal. So here's x. Here's y. We need to move this x over to be on the other side. Right now it's a negative, so the opposite would be to do a positive 1/2 x, or add 1/2 x. So these eliminate, and we have 1/2 x plus y, if you want to put a 1 there, it's a 1y, equals 5. So that's our answer in standard form. Next, we're going to do the same thing, write an equation in standard form, but they gave us the information in a different way. I also didn't give you all of the equations. We know, however, that we're starting with, hey, we have some information here. We can start with a point and a slope using point-slope form, which is y minus y1 equals our slope, x minus x1. Or look right up above at the previous slide. They give you all three equations. So let's find our slope, m, and let's pick a point to use. I like this point, 0, 4. You can use this one or this one. They're both given to you right here or right here. I like 0, 4 because it's easy to add 0, multiply 0, that type of thing. And then our slope, we need to count rise over run. They told us here we're rising or going up 2, and we're running 1, 2, 3, 4. They told us that as well, 2 over 4. But we can simplify 2 over 4. We can divide by 2. That's the same as 1 over 4 divided by 2 is 2, or 1/2. So we know what our slope is, and we know, oopsies, come on, there we go. We know a point. So I'm going to label my point x, y, that's my one point I'm plugging in, and use it all in this equation. So y minus y1, which is 4, equal to our slope m, which is 1 over 2. And then in parentheses, x minus x1, which is 0. So I'm going to distribute or draw my box to multiply. I have 1/2 and x minus 0. So 1/2 times x is just 1/2 x, put them together. 1/2 times 0, it's just 0, plus 0 minus 0 doesn't matter. So I have y minus 4 equals 1/2 x plus 0. And then we want y by itself. So I'm going to do the opposite of subtracting 4, which is adding 4. Notice I only added it under the number because I can't combine the 4 with the x. So I have y equals 1/2 x plus, well, 0 plus 4 is 4. And then I want x and y on the same side. Right now they're on opposite sides. Here's x and here's y. So I need to move this 1/2 x over to the other side. So it's a positive right now. I need to subtract 1/2 x. Subtract 1/2 x. So positive and negatives eliminate there. We have negative 1/2 x plus y, because it's a positive 1 there, equals 4. That is in standard form. Last question. Here's our information in the form of a graph. We need to pick a point and find our slope. So first, I'm going to pick a point. I like the positive point, 1, 3, and they're smaller numbers than 4 and negative 3. And then I'm going to count my slope. From here to here, I'm going to go down. If you want to start here, that's fine. I'm going to go down negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and over 1, 2, 3. So negative 6 divided by 3, well, 6 divided by 3 is 2. If you divided by 2 on the top and the bottom, got 2 over 1, that's fine. However, when we use an equation, it's easier to have a whole number instead of a fraction. So I'm going to label my point x, y. If you notice, we have a point and a slope. Makes sense then to start with point-slope form. So I'm going to plug in what I know. Y minus y1, which is now 3, equals our slope, m, which is negative 2, and then x minus x1, which is 1. So let's draw a box to distribute or multiply. We have a negative 2 out front, and then x minus 1 on the top. So multiply negative 2 times x, just put them together. Negative 2x. A negative times a negative makes a positive. 2 times 1 is 2. So we have y minus 3 equals negative 2x plus 2. So remember, our goal first is to get y by itself, to get y equals mx plus b. You don't need to write that down, but that's our next goal after we distribute. So we need y by itself, so the opposite of subtracting 3 here would be adding 3 to the other side. So we have y equals negative 2x plus, now 2 plus 3 is 5. And then finally we want this last form with x and y on the same side of that equals. So we need to move this x over to the other side. Right now it's a negative 2x, so I need to add 2x. So write your x's first, 2x, move this again, plus y, or 1y, equals now 5. Now the best answers we could have are ones with whole numbers. So if you want to learn how to get rid of the fractions on this type of problem or this type of problem, please make sure to ask, and I can show you how to do that if you are interested, because your MCA test will not list them as fractions. However, this is a correct answer, and I will accept it. Okay? So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, here is your homework. they're giving you the information up here. If you don't have a point, find a point or use your y-intercept to find a point. If you don't have a slope, use your slope formula, which is on the wall as well, to find your slope, and then work your way down through the forms to get to standard form. On the back, same thing. Use this box to just show your information. Here's your 2 points. You can find the slope by counting rise over run or using your slope formula. And then pick 1 point and your slope to write it in point slope form and solve to get standard form.